NWA Atlanta. Today is March 8th, 2014. Big Chad and I, Vance Keeney here, Chad Shepard here at ringside. After the show, this is the Ripped Up Fitness After the Bell post-game show for NWA Atlanta. Ripped Up Fitness on Eagles Landing Parkway in Stockbridge. Personal training at its best. You got a whole workout area, a full gym, full service gym, personal training. You can get it all done there at Ripped Up Fitness. You go to ripped-upfitness.com for information on the location and everything there. We appreciate you guys visiting that, as well as we got one more website, NWAAtlanta.org. You'll find our online presence, NWAAtlanta.org. That'll give you your bios on some of our wrestlers. You'll also find our event schedule coming up here. We have another show here in Locust Grove in 2 weeks, March 22nd coming up. We had a hot show here this evening. Absolutely incredible matchups here tonight. We saw Tyson Dean in action. The NWA Georgia Heavyweight Champion was in action here this evening. We saw Zach Edwards. Fry Daddy was in action here as well. One of the biggest things here tonight, Big Chad, was the main event. The BFFs, part of tradition, the NWA Georgia Tag Team Champions. They had a championship match here this evening versus Bill the Butcher and Pain, Blunt Force Trauma. It was a traditional wrestling match. Any closed fists, kicks, biting, I think, hair pulling, that sort of thing, any of those things would cause a disqualification. And about 15 minutes into the matchup, I believe, we did see that disqualification. Pain just snapped. Had enough of it and had a closed fist right there. We'd seen his tag team partner, Bill the Butcher, decimated by Marvelous Michael and Adorable Anthony. And they had cut the ring in half, proverbially, as you always see. That's good tag team wrestling that you know from the BFFs, from the champs. You saw that happen, and Payne just kind of lost it. He had some double team moves that were, kind of on the shady side, I guess is the best way to put it. But they ended up winning the matchup through disqualification after what happened. And then everything happened crazy after the matchup here. And we're going to welcome in Kurt Kilgore at this point to get his. He's over here.
Did you get on tape? Did you get tonight on tape? It's tonight on tape. It's tonight on tape. You don't need this anymore. It's tonight. That show on tape.
Absolutely.
Because I got assaulted. That's what that is. I'm going to need a copy of this tape so I can take it to the Locust Grove police so they can pull their head out of wherever their head is at so we can take care of this problem right here, right now. As you said when you were just talking to this tiny little camera that is way too small to capture this beauty of Kurt Kilgore, yeah, a traditional wrestling match is what that show was supposed to be. But did they throw punches? Did they throw kicks? Did they throw bites? They did, because that is what they do. And then on top of that, they illegally assaulted Kurt Kilgore. You better believe my lawyers are going to hear about that. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I don't deal with this small-time Locust Grove stuff. I don't shop at Home Depot. I don't shop at Lowe's. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a winner.
Absolutely. You have been the manager of champions here in NWA Atlanta, that's for sure.
Multiple champions.
Absolutely. You've had more gold than any other manager in the history of this company, that's for sure. Now, with what happened tonight in this matchup here, we had Fry Daddy and Marco get involved at the end of the match. And we also saw possibly a new addition. Do we have a new addition? Is Zach Edwards part of tradition?
You have a new addition when Kurt Kilgore says there's a new addition. This is tradition, okay? And I'm only bringing the very best in on this. So if he can prove himself to be the very best, which I will deem one way or another, then yes, he can be a part of it. Zach Edwards may potentially be the missing piece to tradition.
He came in tonight with a baseball bat, the equalizer of all equalizers, I guess, at this point.
Well, we tried to have a traditional wrestling match for the people of Locust Grove, but did they do a traditional match? No, because they can't think. The Neanderthal and the Mute have no traditional wrestling skills whatsoever. All it is punches, bites, and kicks. That's exactly why I set this match up, and that's exactly why we leave Locust Grove, Georgia tonight, the champions. I outsmarted you, Bill the Butcher, and Payne. I outsmarted you again.
Absolutely. That was what happened. You made a great call by making that match a traditional wrestling match up here. We're going to segue there with tradition to the tradition in the Southeast and NWA of War Games. You have a challenge now. You are now the 5th member, according to Tyson Dean, of Tradition's team for War Games. Marvelous Marco grabbed the microphone here in distress after the beatdown that happened this evening. And he has joined forces with Fry Daddy. We've seen him here the past couple months in NWA Atlanta. He's joined forces with Fry Daddy as a tag team, and they're now joining forces with Bill the Butcher and Payne to make up 4 men, and they're going to tell you who the 5th man is. Looks like we have a War Games match coming up in April, and they're going to tell us next in 2 weeks here in Locust Grove, and they're going to reveal their 5th person who's going to be in that War Games matchup.
Of course, they're going to wait for 2 weeks because they don't have a 5th man. They're not smart enough collectively to come together to come up with a 5th man, and they put me in the middle of this matchup. That's fine. Traditionally, I'm not a wrestler. I'm a professional wrestling manager. I wrestle champions. But if I got to be in the middle of the ring, that's fine. Because you know what? I've seen more matches than anybody else, and I know everybody's weakness.
Fantastic. I'm just sure Kurt Kilgore is looking to get into the ring here, especially for War Games. That's coming up at the end of April. We don't have a location for it just yet, but we're looking forward to announcing when that's going to be here real soon. We thank you very much for taking some time here this evening. I know you have a busy schedule.
You better thank
tonight.
me. I do have a busy
We appreciate
schedule.
it.
Forget about
You have a
that.
good
Get away
weekend.
from me.
Very
I
nice.
want that tape.
Thank you.
I want the tape.
It'll be you'll have that tape there. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good evening.
Wow.
Thanks, Big Chad. We appreciate you stepping aside. You are going to get a word in
Well,
edgewise
that's-
and Kurt Kilgore here.
That's usually how it goes.
You know what? For a guy that just had a match win, certainly angry. I tell you what. And when you have somebody like Kurt Kilgore angry, and you've got a matchup like War Games coming up here at the end of April, that's just absolutely just going to be a very tough thing to overcome for whoever that 5th man and the other 4 men, Marvelous Marco. We saw Fry Daddy, Bill the Butcher, and Payne. It's going to be something else here. But one thing you don't realize is that once you're locked in that cage, you're locked in the cage.
Right.
It's 10 guys, 10 wrestlers in the cage, and whoever ends up with that victory, whoever gets that first pinfall, that's the winner of War Games. And we're looking forward to that. You guys have a good evening. Thank you guys for watching the Ripped Up Fitness After the Bell post-game show for NWA Atlanta.
Go check out their website.
I'm Vance Keeney. This is Big Chad. We appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks here in Locust Grove, Georgia, March 22nd. Thank you.